SIMI Valley, Calif. If Congress doesn't approve extra funding accommodate increased U.S. troop presence in Europe and the Middle East, Army may have to dip into personnel recruiting funding cover deployment costs. The service official warned this weekend. Speaking at annual Reagan National Defense Forum on Saturday, Undersecretary of the Army Gabe Camarillo said efforts to resolve recruiting crisis have been absolutely hindered by fighting funding in Congress. Currently, without support Ukraine-Israel, we as an army, with our base budget, are financing operational costs to deploy our soldiers provide deterrence and assurance missions in NATO CENTCOM, Camarillo said, referring to U.S. Central Command. Read Next Air Force expands cancer study among missiles and waits environmental testing at Vandenberg Space Force Base. The military's recent recruitment struggle. The accounts were also used to pay for recruitment incentives, such as bonuses for targeted skills in certain military occupational specialties, he said. Camarillo also echoed a letter from Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Gen. Charles C.Q., arguing that hiring was hurt when Congress passed temporary spending measures that increased last year's funding level rather than passing a regular, full-year appropriations bill. Camarillo's comments on financing of Israel and Ukraine come Biden administration is stepping up efforts to persuade Congress to approve nearly $106 billion for the wars in Ukraine and Israel, as well for U.S. allies in Indo-Pacific region. U.S.-Mexico border. The White House also warned Monday that the United States is nearly running out of money send weapons Ukraine and that running out of those weapons would bring its knees its ability fight Russia's invasion. At beginning war in Ukraine in 2022, United States sent tens thousands its troops Europe to assuage NATO allies' concerns about possibility war spreading their own countries. The increased availability has remained largely unchanged since then. In its request for additional funding, the White House requested about $212 million in personnel funding for the service branches and about $6.6 billion in operations funding to cover costs associated with deployments. Of this, the Army will receive approximately $184 million in personnel financing and approximately $4.6 billion in operations financing. Meanwhile, following Hamas terrorist attack on Israel October, subsequent war Gaza Strip, and increase attacks on American troops suspected of being carried out by Iran-backed militias. Middle East. United States deployed thousands more troops to region. This includes strengthening naval presence in the eastern Mediterranean and strengthening air defenses at undisclosed locations throughout Central Command's area of responsibility. The White House request for additional funding does not include any service-specific operations or personnel funding for the Middle East, although Camarillo pointed out that the DEP